Hey, I'm Carl Azus with 10 minutes of commercial-free news for the classroom. First up, President Obama has issued a new executive order. Part of it will make it illegal for U.S. government agencies to provide local police forces with certain kinds of military-style equipment. So this could include some types of camouflage uniforms, certain guns, grenade launchers, and bayonets, and some armored vehicles that move on tracks like tanks do. Until now, the Departments of Defense and Homeland Security may have provided this equipment to police. The president's executive order doesn't need congressional approval, but it's limited. It does not make it illegal for police forces to get military-style gear. They just have to get it from private sellers instead of the federal government. The president hopes the order will help build trust between citizens and police.
You know, we've seen how militarized gear can sometimes give people a feeling like there's an occupying force as opposed to a force that's part of the community that's protecting them and serving them.
The order also requires police departments to get special permission for equipment like riot gear, helmets, and drones. The president of the Fraternal Order of Police says the equipment is used, quote, for a protective reason, not an offensive purpose. The organization's concerned the new rules could put police officers at risk. Up next today, the Iraqi city of Ramadi. It's about 70 miles west of the capital of Baghdad. It's fallen to the ISIS terrorist group. Local tribes and the Iraqi military have been fighting ISIS for control of Ramadi since last year. A CNN military analyst says the loss of this city is a huge setback to Iraqi forces and to the U.S. strategy to defeat ISIS. Thousands of civilians have fled Ramadi, headed to safer areas of Iraq. The country is planning a counterattack with help from controversial militias supported by Iran. And the U.S. is leading ongoing airstrikes at ISIS targets inside Ramadi. We're crossing two oceans on today's CNN Student News Roll Call in Kailua, Hawaii. It's on the island of Oahu. We've got the junior surf riders of Kailua Intermediate School. Across the Pacific and across the country in Manasquan, New Jersey, it's the Warriors up next of Manasquan High School. And across the Atlantic in the English county of Cumbria, it's great to see the students of Kirkby Kendall School from the United Kingdom. Amtrak commuter trains are running again between Philadelphia and New York, but investigators still don't know what exactly led to the derailment of train 188 last Tuesday, killing 8 people and injuring more than 200. The National Transportation Safety Board is investigating the accident. One question it's asking is why the train sped up to 106 miles per hour ahead of a 50-mile-per-hour curve. It's asked the FBI to look into whether some sort of projectile hit the train before the crash. There's a mark on the train's windshield, and at least 2 other trains have reported being hit by something near train 188's crash site. Officials say the engineer did not report being hit by anything. He had a concussion and other injuries, and investigators say he can't remember anything about the crash. When the rail line reopened to commuters yesterday morning, CNN was there.
We left the station just after 6 a.m. this morning, leaving Philadelphia, heading to New York for the first time in nearly a week. This section of the track has finally reopened. This is part of the Northeast Corridor, the busiest rail corridor in the country. So thousands of people have been trying to find other ways to get where they need to go, to get to work over the last week. They tell us they're relieved to be back on board this morning, but certainly it did take a great deal of work to get these trains back up and running. We spoke to Amtrak this morning. They said that they had more than 300 crews who were working last week and through the weekend in order to repair that damaged section of the track and to activate those speed controls which can force a train to slow down if it's approaching a curve at too great a speed. Just about 10 minutes after we left the 30th Street station, we passed through Frankfurt Junction. We were moving at a pretty slow speed, then that curve in the track's almost imperceptible to riders even as we watched out for it. The mayor of Philadelphia, Mayor Nutter, was at 30th Street station this morning greeting passengers, encouraging them to get back on board and saying that he was confident in the repairs that have been made here. We talked to people who ride this train every single day. Obviously, they showed a lot of patience last week. They understood the gravity of the situation. They found alternate ways to get to work, whether it was driving or heading to the station in Trenton and hopping on another train line. Nobody expressing fear to us this morning. They said that they felt very, very confident that the repairs that were necessary had been made, and they felt encouraged by the fact that these new speed controls have been put in place as a result of this.
Time for the shout out. What is meant by the term ectothermic? If you think you know it, shout it out. Is it cold-blooded, volcanic, igneous, or warm-blooded? You've got 3 seconds. Go. If an organism is ectothermic, it's considered to be cold-blooded, with a body temperature that fluctuates with that of its environment. That's your answer, and that's your shout-out.
In biology, you might have been taught that all fish are ectothermic. It's mostly right, but scientists have discovered an exception. They recently took the temperature of an opah, or moonfish, one that wasn't sick, but it was warm. They found that even though this predatory fish swims hundreds of feet deep, its body temperature stays around 41 degrees Fahrenheit higher. In the U.S., 40% of the food that's produced goes uneaten. It goes to waste. A charity organizer named Robert Lee says the amount of food that's wasted is enough to eradicate hunger. So Lee founded Rescuing Leftover Cuisine. The organization is based on a simple idea, and it's working for New York's restaurants and New York's hungry. Lee is today's character study.
A club that I was involved in college brought leftover dining hall food from campus to the homeless shelter, and I just thought that the concept could be applied outside the borders of NYU. So welcome and thank you guys for coming. Today we'll be going to the Long Island Bay Cafe. In Manhattan alone there's about 100,000 restaurants. Our strategy is to work with as many restaurants as possible and get that food waste to people who need it. Looks really good. Our group has no minimum food requirement. We pick up any amount of food, no matter how small it is. Thanks a lot. Thanks, guys. I'll see you later. Yep. Because that small amount can feed someone.
Rescuing Leftover Cuisine makes it so easy for us. All right, you guys.
Every little bit counts.
How about cupcake?
That's one person's life that you just changed. You see the line now, they're actually going in for dinner. All that food today has been thrown out without your help, so really appreciate it. Since we started, we've rescued over 100,000 pounds of food. It's just the beginning. The need is so great, and there's just so much demand. Perfect. With more restaurants, who knows how much more we can do.
People spend hundreds of billions of dollars on anti-aging cosmetics and treatments. This engaged couple participated in an experiment that went the other direction. With the help of professional makeup and hair, they got to see what they could look like decades from now. First, they seemed to age pretty well, but as the experiment goes on, the makeup, well, ages them. Still, they said they were grateful for the glimpse into the possible future. Guess it answers an age-old question, and if they didn't like what they saw, they could always kiss and make up. It's an experiment for the ages, one that never gets old, though it gets old fast, and it puts the beginning of today's show 10 minutes in the past. I'm Carl Lazouse for CNN Student News.